Welcome to our live stream here at VegasInsider.com on our YouTube channel. Kevin Rogers with you as we are in the Vegas Insider newsroom. And after that missed field goal by the Bills to end the half, the Chiefs lead the Bills 13-10. And we'll go over some of the second half trends to look at for both of these teams. Also, we'll have a preview of Arizona and Dallas. And you can always drop in your comments on our page here for our live stream. Anything you want to talk about from the first half of this Chiefs-Bills game, also from maybe yesterday in the NFL, and we'll look ahead to Week 7 lines also. Kevin Rogers with you, and a very sloppy first half, to say the least, in Buffalo. And as you see, the Chiefs cover the first quarter as they led 7-3 after the first, and the game barely stayed under the 10.5. And in the first half overall, the Chiefs lead at 13-10. They pushed, the Chiefs did, in the first half. And also the game stayed under 27. It would have still stayed under 27 if Buffalo kicked that field goal at the end. But also, one thing I got to say before we look at the second half trends for the season for the Chiefs and the Bills, that I don't understand what the Chiefs were doing there on that final drive. The weather's terrible. Get out of there. I don't know why these teams try so hard, and the Chiefs were deep in their own territory. I know that Patrick Mahomes can get Kansas City up the field. Travis Kelce, who played very well in the first half, scored 2 touchdowns, but also fumbled at the end of the half, would have made it a 13-13 game possibly if Buffalo kicks that field goal. But I just don't know why Kansas City was trying to rush it up the field. You get nothing out of it. Just get out of there, lead at 13-10, and Kansas City's very fortunate, in fact, to have that field goal missed and for it to be a 13-10 game at the half. So let's look at some of the second half numbers this season for the Chiefs and the Bills. And as you see here, Buffalo has not been a good second half team. Now, granted, let's break it down, though. In Week 1 against the Jets, the Bills were up 21-3. They didn't cover the second half in which they were laying 3. They got outscored 14-6. Okay, so be it. That game was in the bag. In Week 2 against the Dolphins, the Bills were up by 7. They were a pick 'em at the half. They got outscored by 4 in the second half. So there's 0-2 against the spread. That crazy Week 3 game against the Rams in which they led 21-3, and they were in cruise control. They were up 28-3, in fact, in the third quarter. But the Rams came back, took the lead late, and then Buffalo scored at the end to win it. But the Rams, though, they outscored the Bills 29-14, so LA covered that one. The only second half that the Bills have covered this season came against Las Vegas in Week 4. That was a pick'em. That was a game the Bills were up 17-13 at the half, pick'em in the second half, and Buffalo outscored Las Vegas 13-10 in the final 2 quarters. So that's the only one. And then this past Tuesday, or last Tuesday, the Bills went to Tennessee, and they were down 11 at the half. They were laying 4.5 in the second half, and they got outscored 21-6. So as you see, they have not been great in the second half so far on the season, but they are 3-1-1 to the over. Now, on the flip side with the Chiefs, 4-1 against the spread in the second half this season. Against Houston in Week 1, they outscored the Texans by 4, so they barely got that. Week 2, the overtime victory over the Chargers, the game that the Chiefs trailed 14-6 at the half. They were laying 9.5 in the second half, and they outscored them by 11 when they kicked that game-winning field goal in overtime. Week 3, they were up big on Baltimore at the half, 27-10. They were getting 4.5, thinking Baltimore would make it a closer game, and the Chiefs still outscored, or they were outscored 10-7, I should say, in the second half. But the good news is they covered the 4.5, so they got another cover there. In the New England game on Monday night a few weeks ago, that was an ugly first half. Remember, the Patriots had opportunities to score in the red zone. They couldn't do it. The Chiefs were up 6-3 at the half. KC was laying 4.5 in the second half, and they outscored New England 20-7. They also had that pick 6, which was helpful. And then last week against the Raiders, that was a 24-24 game at the half. And the Chiefs were laying 6 in the second half. And after 48 points scored in the first half, the two teams combined for 24 in the second half, and the Raiders won it as they outscored the Chiefs 16-8. So that's the look at the second half stats for the Chiefs and Bills on the season. And again, is this Is this trend going to continue? Who knows? We'll see. But that's what we have right now for the Chiefs and the Bills, as Kansas City up 13-10 at the half. And right now, the second half line for this game, the Chiefs laying 3 in the second half and total around 26.5, 27. So let's see now if you're going to have another total that goes over for the Bills, even though this is the third straight game that we've seen a 27 for the Bills in the second half. Now, remember, this is a doubleheader tonight. You have Arizona and Dallas. Hi, welcome back. Here later on in Arlington. And the Cardinals come in at 3-2. The Cowboys at just 1-4. And as you see here in the graphic, that's not Dak Prescott. That's Andy Dalton, because Dak Prescott fractured his ankle last week, gruesome injury against the Giants, but the Cowboys found a way to win that game against New York to improve now to the Cowboys. They're actually 2-3. The graphic is not right. They're 2-3, not 1-4. But the good news is for the Cowboys, if they win this game against the Cardinals tonight, they're 3-3, and they are in cruise control of the NFC East. We know how bad the division is, with the Eagles losing against Baltimore. The Giants finally won yesterday, and Washington's a mess right now. So the Cowboys can really help themselves by picking up a victory tonight. And this is a game in which Arizona was a short favorite, and then the money flipped over to Dallas, and a lot of people thought, like I did too, that Dallas last 3 times as a home underdog, they won and covered. So money was coming in on Dallas, and then all of a sudden it flipped to a pick'em, and even Dallas laying 1 at a lot of spots, and a very high total, 55.5. And looking at the numbers here for Arizona and Dallas, look at Arizona's totals and look at Dallas's totals. Arizona 5-0 to the under so far on the season. Dallas 4-1 to the over. Well, we know why, because Dallas's defense is the worst in the NFL. That's why you've seen all those overs. But look at Arizona for a second. 3-2. Right now, they're in. We knew they were going to be in a tough spot in that NFC West, where Seattle is unbeaten. San Francisco got back to life by beating the Rams last night, and the Rams have still got off to a good start. And Arizona, that's not bad, 3-2, considering they've only played 1 game inside the division. They host Seattle coming up next Sunday, so still going to Dallas is tough, and then getting Seattle next week off the bye is not going to be easy. But Arizona won the first 2 games of the season. Defense played well. Questionable loss to Detroit in week 3. Then they just didn't play well at all in that Carolina game. They were down that whole game to Carolina on the road. But they bounced back to beat the Jets last week. Who hasn't beaten the Jets? I mean, we see they're the worst team in football by far. But 5 straight unders for Arizona to begin the season. When you look at Dallas, their only under came in week 1 against the Rams. Easy under when they opened up SoFi Stadium. And that was a game the Rams won 20-17. And that one stayed under 52. But look at the 4 other totals, all well above 50. The shootout win coming back against the Falcons, 40-39. The Seattle game, Dak Prescott had a chance to tie it at the end. He threw the interception. The Cleveland game, the Cowboys got down huge in that one. They rallied back. Then the Browns had that late touchdown from Odell Beckham to put that one away. And then the Giants game last week, where the Cowboys are 0-5 against the spread, which is insane. And now they go to the Red Rifle tonight with Andy Dalton making his first start for the Cowboys, with Dak Prescott on the bench for the rest of the season. Well, I mean, on the bench because he's injured, not because of his play. I mean, Dak Prescott has the most yards passing in the NFL this season, so they're not going to replace him. But Andy Dalton coming in because Dak's hurt. So now this is what the Cowboys are dealing with, where Arizona wins. They're 4-2 in a dogfight in the NFC West. Dallas wins, and they are looking in the rearview mirror at the 3 other bums that are behind them inside the NFC East. And by the way, Dallas has played 1 game inside the division, that Giants victory last week. They go to Washington coming up next week. So Dallas can really help themselves with a victory tonight and get back to 500 and also maybe get their first cover of the season. So we'll see how that goes. So halftime in Buffalo, in case you're just joining us, Kevin Rogers with you here on our live stream on the Vegas Insider channel on YouTube. You've seen our videos over the last few months on YouTube. We've had plenty of baseball prediction videos. I just put out one for Rays and Dodgers. They start tomorrow night, game one of the World Series in Arlington. The opening line report also released earlier. Brian Blessing, who does that every single week, a fantastic job, and Brian's a veteran out in Vegas, and he breaks down every single game in the NFL, the opening lines, and where the movement is. And you can check out that video. He goes through every single game. Also, we have our Sunday night predictions, Rams and 49ers. I had the 49ers in that one last night. And the Monday night predictions, you could check out that video as well. Also, we have contest picks as well as college football predictions too. Brian Edwards has been on fire in these picks. He was 8-2 in his SEC videos going into this past weekend and went 2-1 this past Saturday. He hit the Alabama-Georgia over. Also, he had South Carolina getting the points against Auburn. The only loss was the Ole Miss-Arkansas over, but still, Brian has been fantastic in those. So check out his picks every week looking ahead to college football. And also, you can check out the Bet and Collect podcast as well, as I host that. And we go through it every single week during, not only during the football season, but all throughout the year. And we had Scott Farrell on the bench. He was on the last show, as well as Bruce Marshall with his tech trends. And we're going to look ahead to some Big Ten football with our friends from ASA coming up this week on the podcast, and also some NFL talk. So check that out. That usually comes out on Thursday. Really quickly, before the second half begins, I know you want to get back to watching the second half between the Chiefs and the Bills. Still a few minutes to go. Here are some lines for Week 7 in the NFL. And as you see here, these are our lines from our odds page at VegasInsider.com. The week kicks off with the Giants and the Eagles Thursday night. I know, people can't even wait to watch that game. But the Eagles, you see that, just 3.5-point favorites, all the injuries they've suffered on offense. And we'll see if the Giants can win their second in a row. Mentioned Dallas and Washington. The Cowboys a 3-point favorite on the road. We'll see how it turns out tonight. Cleveland and Cincinnati. Bengals have played well. You got to give them that. They covered against the Colts on Sunday. Cleveland got routed at Pittsburgh. So that's the second matchup between those two. Cleveland beat Cincinnati at home earlier this year, but the Bengals covered on the road. Lions and Falcons, both teams coming off road wins there. And Atlanta, they've been a shaky home team over the years. We'll see what they do. And Detroit, actually, both their wins have come on the road. Carolina was not good yesterday, even though they hung around with Chicago. They go to New Orleans, the Saints off the bye. You see the Bills and the Jets, how bad the Jets are, all the points they're getting coming up next Sunday. Green Bay, Houston, very interesting. Packers off the blowout loss to the Bucs. Texans blew that game late against the Titans. Tough loss if you had Houston in the points on Sunday. Seattle and Arizona, very good matchup there. The Seahawks, a short favorite off the bye. The Jimmy Garoppolo Bowl in New England between the 49ers and the Patriots. New England a short favorite after they lost to Denver. Broncos get the Chiefs coming up on Sunday. You got Tampa Bay and Vegas, Brady and the Bucks taking on the Raiders. Pittsburgh, Tennessee, both teams at 5-0 on the season. Jags and Chargers, and then Bears, Rams to wrap it up next Monday night. And that is our look at halftime and what we had here for our live stream. And we appreciate you coming in and watching us. And, you know, this is one of the times that, we're coming in here on this Monday night, kind of unexpected. But we're going to do a lot more of these live streams. The second half is back in Buffalo. The Chiefs up 13-10. Don't forget to check out VegasInsider.com for all the previews, for everything. Check out the videos and the podcast as well. I'm Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon right here on our YouTube channel on VegasInsider.com.